of change that needs to happen to ensure that what we're providing teachers and what we're providing leaders trickles down to the most important mission here, which is our students.
The most important variable in a student's academic success story is having a quality teacher. And we have over 20,000 teachers in Miami-Dade. And so we believe profoundly that we need to invest in our educators because we know that that's where the rubber hits the road. And if we're investing in them and helping them develop themselves continuously, whether they are emerging teachers, rookie teachers, teachers that have been in our school system for a very long time, career educators, I think that we have developed a culture in Miami-Dade of continuous growth. And that's not just organizationally, but independently and personally.
Whether you're making an investment in technology, new standards, acquisition of new digital content, new practices for middle school, new practices for advanced academics, if you do not invest in human capital development, that investment in the asset will go to waste.
Professional development is very important in my world, but you have to be very deliberate about your professional development on who designs it, who delivers the professional development, and the follow-up as far as how they're putting it to practice.
So the morning session started with our middle school redesign process, or our initiative that rolled out 2 years ago, right? And so that is one type of professional development that we've had to do with principals and teachers to be able to help them envision a different experience for middle school students.
It originally started with basic data digging, right? We looked at some of our academic data and we realized that our traditional middle schools were not performing at par to their K-8 peers, and the predictions that we had for these middle schoolers were not at par with where they were performing. So that was, that's basic data that we look at school districts. We started peeling back the onion a little further and noticed that we're losing a lot of students in our traditional middle schools to either K-8 settings or other options. So that was another red flag for us. And then we started looking at some of the softer data, like school climate survey data, and we realized that this really needed to be a whole different approach.
Students will tell you what you need to make your school better. Students will tell you what makes them come to school. So by redesign, you have to make the environment nurturing for them.
So middle school redesign really had to focus on how do we train teachers with these new techniques, but in an engaging way. So we've done everything from hackathons to innovative blended approaches, book studies, anything you can think of that really flips professional development on its head. But the one we're the most proud of is the use of design thinking as our PD forum and our real path to changing schools and disrupting the environment. Because design thinking is all about getting collective groups of people to have a shared vision and problem solve in a personalized manner that they can take back to their schools all of these different brainstorming and prototypes and techniques that they've come up with together. So design thinking really has been a game changer for us in middle school redesign, and through Miami-Dade County Public Schools, it's being used in a lot of other programs now as well.
So the design thinking activity that the teams, the cohort of Impact Florida engaged in was an example of the type of professional development that our principals and our teachers and even our students have gone through to be able to really ideate, think outside the box. And the design thinking process was the perfect method for us to utilize as part of a professional development series for teachers and leaders.
We are looking at really turning upside down how we are delivering professional learning from the physical space as well as the processes that we're using.
About half the things we do need a DNR. Do not resuscitate. All right, here's your whiteboards.
But what do we put on here about PD though? Can we have some books or something?
Instructional Rounds is the applied section of professional development. You apply it, you integrate it, you go into a classroom, and you actually act on this instructional improvement piece.
We went through Commissioner Leadership Academy. I think that was an initial foundation of what previously known as Commissioner Leadership. Now it's called Brian Dassler's Leadership Academy. And the systems in place that they put in and as far as how to train the clinical eye for administrators.
So in the instructional rounds process that we delved into today, we focused on ESOL students and ESOL strategies so that some of our most fragile students are able to access the curriculum and the content. And so what we were looking for is for teachers to be able to use hand signals, to be able to use visuals, to allow students to be able to speak and listen and practice the language of English. So what we've done is we've redesigned the language acquisition class for ESOL students so that now it's no longer being seen as a reading class for ESOL students, because we realize, well, reading is not really the issue. The issue here is that students need to learn the language before they can access a grade level text in English, for example, in their language arts class. So at this point, we were able to focus the instructional rounds where they were able to go in and see both a core language arts class for ESOL students and then their language acquisition class for ESOL students so that they can see the difference between the two and what we've done to redesign that for them.
America, within the next 2 decades, will resemble more Miami than any other city in the country. That is why unlocking solutions for perennial educational problems that have vexed our nation is so critically important. And if those solutions come from a district like Miami, maybe we are producing something that can be replicated or amplified not only statewide, but across the United States of America.